What we have is a leadership problem in Williamson County. And that leads us to today. And so we started looking at who can oppose Cynthia Long. And I asked, and Lieutenant Colonel Brigid is stepping up for duty.
I've never voted Democrat. When I ran for city council, I labeled myself a conservative, independent constitutionalist. As we visited, our labels fell to the wayside. Our values and views were the same. As a sitting council member in Liberty Hill, I have done everything in my power to fix our traffic issues. In my heart, I feel that if Cynthia Long is elected again, Liberty Hill will see traffic issues comparable to that of City of Austin's. Something that has come as a shock to that will come as a shock to most of you is that 183A is owned by a foreign company. Under Cynthia Long, she has used the power of eminent domain, paid citizens far less than what their land was worth, taxed our constituents for road projects, and then ultimately sells the deal to a foreign-owned company. The transportation plan that was adopted under her watch does not take into account the beauty of our land, our trees, nor property rights for Texans. It is an easy button for government, laying a 1 mile by 1 mile grid over the entire county. The taking of land from its owners is never met with market value. In my experience, it is 5 to 10 times less than what the market would bear. She has ignored the needs of Liberty Hill for the last 15 years as a commissioner, as well as her role of the president of Campo. If you compare Leander and Cedar Park to Liberty Hill, both of those cities have a much larger population and their traffic flows much better than ours. What's the difference? Those cities have received funding from their commissioner and from Campo. Cynthia Long does not respect the traditions of Liberty Hill. She has driven citizens that have enjoyed river access to the Blue Hole on Baghdad for over a century from their summer swimming hole. She is attempting to take the land currently known as Grace Park, a riverfront property that has served our city with water access from its founding days. Cynthia Long put an adult probation center 1 lot outside the city limits. It's a stone's throw right down 1869 here. And it's also less than a mile from the elementary school. She did not inform the city of Liberty Hill of her plans. She did not take out any permits whatsoever. If any other developer did this, the consequences would be severe. She is above the law. Recently, a longtime resident of Liberty Hill with mental handicaps found herself homeless. I've been attempting to find help for her through Williamson County. There is a 2-year waiting list for housing that could accommodate her. This is a failure of government to care for our most vulnerable. The River Ranch Park, that nearly 15 years ago, the citizens of Williamson County paid for land that they have not been able to access. I've requested for years that Williamson County set aside at least 50 acres so that Liberty Hill could construct some ball fields for the youth of our city. She has steadfastly refused. This last year, the Liberty Hill Baseball Youth League could not support all of our children due to lack of fields. Again, her park is still not open. Our challenge is great in this race. Federal politics and the mainstream media exhaust the emotions of our nation. Its divisive content is meant to form tribes in our nation, leading Americans to despise other Americans. Even though the topics that are used for tools of division are rarely, if ever, discussed with our neighbors. If we look, we find more similarities than differences with our fellow citizens. Here's the most damaging part. People in our nation are so exhausted and tribalized that when it comes to local politics, they are too angry to consider someone from another party. We have let politicians into office that have no business leading our governments. Bad people are hiding behind D's and R's. We need people with an H in front of their names. Honorable. Brigid is honorable. Just look at her resume and her life. Talk with her and you will find someone that stands for what is best in all of us. I have way more in common with Brigid than I do with Cynthia. Brigid has tools necessary and a moral compass to guide her to the best solutions for our growing county. It is our time, and it is her time. I feel that this county is blessed to have Brigid as our next county commissioner. God bless Williamson County, and God bless Liberty Hill. Thank you.
I'm very, very proud of Liberty Hill. In the past 10 years, Liberty Hill has tripled its population and has done so while attempting at least to maintain our signature lifestyle, our supportive community, and our commitment to our environment. And we've gotten no help or support from our county, which would be helpful. I think things can turn around. And I met a lady who is smart enough to be a nuclear physicist and who is competent enough to be a lieutenant colonel. And I think she has the skill set to take that we need. And I would like to introduce and endorse our Colonel Brigid Lester.
All right, so a bit about my campaign. As you can see and have seen, and some of you have helped me with it, my color is purple. You know why it's purple?
Red, white, blue.
When you mix the red, white, and blue, that's what you get. That's what you get. I know Major Branigan wants me to say it's because of the Panthers and Liberty Hill High School, and that's a lovely coincidence. So we'll go with both explanations. The other thing about my campaign, I refuse to take money from big developers. I am here for you. Thank you. I am not in this for personal gain. In fact, I have already made it quite clear that I will be donating large portions of my salary to nonprofits within Williamson County. I am a retired colonel. I am not in this for money. I am in this to serve those that have been poorly represented. You are going to have a commissioner that represents you. I don't think the current commissioner is doing her job. I think that her actions and inactions are actually endangering Williamson County Precinct 2, and I think primarily Liberty Hill. And I guess the Army in me realizes that I can't let that just stay, and so I'm stepping up. EMS, law enforcement, first responders, she has intentionally for the past 16 years underfunded them to the point that their manning, their equipment, their training, and their salaries have put them in danger, and subsequently us. Her actions have in effect defunded law enforcement. I backed the blue, and guess what happened last week?
They backed you.
The blue backed me, exactly. They pulled the endorsement from my opponent and gave it to me. Perhaps the most existential threat to our existence here in Central Texas, and particularly in Liberty Hill, where we are so dependent on wells. She has systematically refused to even discuss water rights. And as you well know, a groundwater conservation district is essential here because the surrounding counties have one. They have controls on their wells. And so where do the businesses that suck water come to? Where do they stick their straws? Into the Trinity Aquifer, and then who pays the price? Us. There just isn't enough water, and she is quite content to leave it that way. She has supported tax abatements for businesses that are moving into the area. I don't personally think we need tax abatements. There's enough lure and appeal for Central Texas, Precinct 2 and Liberty Hill, that we don't need to be giving them bennies. The fourth safety thing that I want to talk about, although there's so many others I could, is one that's been touched on by the people who have spoken already tonight, and it's the roads. The roads themselves are dangerous, and Cynthia is content to talk about new roads because they're sexy and they're new contracts. The existing roads are what really need the love. I've driven around here and there are so many roads that are not wide enough for two vehicles to pass, especially if one of them is a school bus. They don't even have a stripe down the middle of them. Those roads need attention. And when it comes to new roads, they need to be sited intelligently. They need to be sited with input from you. I'm Colonel Brigid Lester, running to be your next county commissioner. Things will be better in Liberty Hill because things will be better with Brigid. Thank you.